Timesheets is a part of the JC and HR modules in nTree. If the desired user has access to these modules and you have assigned an nTree Timesheets license to them in the Enable Us App Maintenance screen, they should see the Timesheets tile in their dashboard or from the side menu on the nTree app. Clicking on this tile will bring up a listing of all timesheets in the nTree system that have been assigned or created against the currently logged in user or the currently selected user if you have the nTree Supervisor module installed. Once the timesheets item has been selected, you will see the timesheet item listing. Some things to note on this screen. Firstly, there are two tabs. In iOS, these tabs will be on the bottom, and in Android, they will be on the top. One tab lists individual days and the timesheet line items per day split by weeks. If your company uses split weeks, those weeks will be split according to nTree split week logic. The second tab is the week view. This view shows the number of hours that have been entered as timesheet line items for each day of that week or split week. In the day view, the top of the form lists the individual days with a coloured badge indicating the number of line items entered for that day. The colour also indicates the status of the items on that day. A red badge indicates an exception with one of the lines for that day. An orange badge indicates that there are lines waiting for a response for that day, and a green badge indicates that the line items have been processed or waiting for approval. When you select a day, the timesheet line items populate for that day in the listing. Each timesheet line item comprises of a few parts. Firstly, the left-hand side of the timesheet line item gives the number of hours allocated for the line item and its status. The colour also is an indication of status. Blue means that the line is processed. The individual nTree statuses for these line items are approved, JC processed, JC processed, JC processed PR pending, PR processed or processed. Individual nTree statuses are entered, partially approved, pending approval, pending PR process, submitted or unsubmitted. If the line item is red, then that means it has encountered an exception when processed by nTree. Any exception details will appear under the status header when you open up that timesheet line item. To add a new timesheet line item, click the Add button to the top right of the timesheet day listing. To edit an existing line, tap on one of the line items. When entering or editing a timesheet line item, the user interface may be different based on the configuration of your nTree system, user system details, and defaults. As mentioned, when you open a timesheet line item, you will be presented with a status header indicating the current status of the timesheet line item. Under the status header, there will be some exception text or approval rejection details if present. If you have set Use Start/Finish Times checkbox in the Details tab under the Mobile Timesheet Control in nTree, there will be a start and end time present in the nTree timesheet line item edit form. If there are no line items for the selected day, the start time will auto-populate to the start time of the same day in the working calendar set against the user in the nTree Employee Maintenance form within the Timesheet sub-tab within the Timesheet Employee tab. If there are already line items for the selected day, then the start time will be set to the end time of the last line item. End time will be set to the current time if the start time selected is less. Otherwise, it will default to 1 hour from the start time. If there is no working calendar set against the individual user, then default working calendar set against the mobile timesheet module control is used. If this Use Start Finish Times checkbox is not selected against the module timesheet control, then only an input box of hours is present. If the Use Break Times checkbox is ticked against the Details tab in the Mobile Timesheet Control form in nTree, then a Break input box is present also. Timesheet Updates drop-down box also determines the user interface. If JC/PR separately is selected, then job costing details plus payroll details are present and required for entry in a timesheet line item. This is also the case for PR to JC option. If JC only is selected, then only the job costing details are required. If none is selected, then only the times and break details are present. SR only is not an option within nTree. If a person needs to have their timesheet submitted, then the Submit Required checkbox needs to be set against the user record in the nTree Employee Maintenance form within the Approvals sub-tab under the Timesheet Employee tab. This will force the user to submit the entire timesheet via the Week tab mentioned previously. If the user is allowed to submit individual line items, then tick the Edit in Approval checkbox in that same tab. If you want the user to be allowed to edit the JC processed lines, then check that checkbox in the same tab. To delete a timesheet line item, click on the desired line item and click the trash icon at the top of the Edit Timesheet Line Item form. Alternatively, you can swipe left against the line item in the timesheet line item listing on the day view, or long press the line item in Android and click Delete. If the system prompts you to let you know you cannot delete the line item, then it has encountered a scenario where you don't have permissions to do so, or the status of the line item does not permit you to delete it at this time. Any exceptions that may occur from creating, updating, or deleting a timesheet line item record will return back as an exception, and all exception data will appear under the status detail at the top of the Edit Timesheet Line Item form. For ease of use, there's now a copy function that allows you to copy a timesheet line item to another day. All you need to do is swipe left on a timesheet line item and select the Copy button. If you have Android, you need to long press and select Copy. Once you've done that, you are presented with a number of days in the current week that you can copy them to. Simply tick the checkbox that you want to copy these items to, and then select the orange Copy to Selected Days button to the bottom of the screen.